after this. The other day, and of course to run an equal record you have to be a pretty safe conveyance, and the way he went to the post was most impressive. We really have been blessed with the weather this carnival. It could change this afternoon. I think they're possibly talking about maybe some showers, but at the moment Dan Malicki and Gary Willits, Flemington looks a picture as she has done for the first 3 days.
I think the only showers at this stage are the ones in the jockeys room, Pete, because it's a beautiful day. Yes, absolutely beautiful, Gary.
Dan, I was just to say, I don't think Peter and Jen will need their raincoats this year. I reckon it'll stay fine. But there's a good crowd building up again. It's great to see a lot of young people coming back to the races, Dan.
It is. I think today has been promoted as a kids' day. There's a lot of activities for the kids and the families today. There's even a kids' fashion on the field as well.
Yeah, but it's been great crowds. Tembo Tembea certainly looks the goods in this race. Ridden by Michael Patton. He's one of the top hurdle jockeys. One I did like the look of was Striking Gold, one trained by Robert Smurden, ridden by Craig Durden. But, gee, it's hard to go past Tembo Tembea. I wouldn't like to be taking odds on in a hurdle race.
No, well, he is a short price favourite. I remember we had an odds-on favourite in a hurdle race on Oaks Day a few years ago called Landowner. He'd won his only hurdle start by 50 lengths in South Australia, and he was involved in a scrimmage and brought down at about the 800-metre point. So that is the biggest concern with the jumper, is that they get brought down, and when they're so short a priced favourite, every other jockey in the race knows the horse to beat is that horse.
Yeah. Look at that horse's coat, and it's great to see these horses with the good weather, how they brighten up. I remember only a month or so back we'd come out of, you know, fairly wet winter and everything, and the coats on the horses were long. But there's Tembo Tembea, ridden by Michael Patton, trained by Peter Hayes, and he's certainly got the Hayes polish on him. He looks like he could be in the Queen Elizabeth.
Certainly wouldn't be surprised if he's certainly shown flat ability before Tembo Tembea. You're no surprise to see him win on the flat in the near future again. Now they're all set for the first event, racing on the final day of the VRC Spring Carnival. He jumped out okay, Tembo Tembea. Diamond Heist, one of the first away with Ronald's Regret, Naruma Guy and Percheval as they draw up to the first one. Shenton Street allowed time to settle with Art and Les, and they drift back towards the tail of the field as they come up to the second hurdle now, and Ronald's Regret gets over it just in front from Tembo Tembea. Poetic Council was up there, Percheval, and then the Rumour Guy over on the inside into about 5th spot from Diamond Heist. Mogul the Grey's about midfield on the inside. Silent Sentry's about 5 by, but going up to join the leaders as they come over the next hurdle. Back midfield there, Swift Idea pecked at that hurdle, and around it Striking Gold, followed by Wooden Duck. Now Mogul is 4th last on the inside, 2 lengths to Art and Les, and then came Grimsdorf, and back to the tail was Shenton Street. They've jumped 4 hurdles down the straight. They've got 1 more to get over, and then they'll have a lap left to travel. And Poetic Council's gone up to take the lead. Poetic Council in front of Ronald's Regret, and Striking Gold is still improving its possession. It's going up to tackle Poetic Council for the lead out of the straight. In 4th position was Silent Sentry. Naruma Guy's 5th on the inside of Tembo Tembea as Striking Gold takes the lead as they work to the 2100-metre mark. Percheval is racing 7th on the inside, then Swift Idea. Diamond Heist was midfield on the rails, and then came Wooden Duck and Mogul on its inside from Shenton Street. Art and Les and a length and a half away Mogul at the tail. They go to the jump at the 1800-metre mark, and Striking Gold got over it okay. He leads a length and a quarter Poetic Council, and a length and a half away Silent Sentry. Out 3 wide now Naruma Guy, then Ronald's Regret on the inside of Percheval, and around them was the favourite Tembo Tembea. So it's 3 deep as they come to the next hurdle. Then Swift Idea on the outside of Diamond Heist. Mogul starting to improve its position, but out a little bit wide from Art and Les. Wooden Duck, Shenton Street, and back at the tail of the field, Grimsdorf. 1,500 metres to go. Striking Gold the leader. He got over that one about a length in front of Poetic Council and Naruma Guy. A length away Tembo Tembea travelling well 4th. On its inside Silent Sentry, and then came Mogul still going okay, getting to 6th from Ronald's Regret, then Diamond Heist. Further back to Swift Idea. Percheval on its inside from Art and Les. Then Grimsdorf hooked out wide around Wooden Duck, and 3 lengths away Shenton Street at the tail. About 1,100 to go. Striking Gold got into that one a little bit. He's margin 3/4 of a length on Poetic Council and Naruma Guy. A length away Tembo Tembea 4th, and then Mogul the Grey around the favourite. A length and a half away than a Silent Sentry from Ronald's Regret, Grimsdorf, Swift Idea, and they've dropped off Wooden Duck and also Art and Les. They get over the next jump now. Challengers are coming, 800 to go, and Tembo Tembea raced up to hit the lead from Striking Gold. Mogul running on well. Poetic Council put under pressure, 4th on the inside of Naruma Guy, and then Ronald's Regret, Silent Sentry and Grimsdorf, but it's Tembo Tembea in front. inside the 600 metres mark, and Tembo Tembe will turn a length and a half in front of Mogul second, Striking Gold third, then Naruma Guy, Poetic Council battling on from Silent Sentry, Grimsdorf and Ronald's Regret. They've got 2 hurdles to get over. Tembo Tembe cleared out at the second last one. He got over it, went through it, he got it 2.5 in front. Mogul in second spot's not done with yet. Then Naruma Guy, Poetic Council and Grimsdorf. Here's the last one. Tembo Tembe come to it, he jumped it okay. A length and a half in front. Mogul's trying very hard. Then Naruma Guy, Grimsdorf in a battle for third. But it's Tembo Tembe and he's going to win. He's a very smart customer. Tembo Tembe eased up, wins a length and a half to Mogul. A good run second. 5 away the other grey, Grimsdorf. And then Naruma Guy, Poetic Council. Further back into Wooden Duck, which made up a bit of ground from Martin Les, and then Ronald's Regret. Further back then to Striking Gold. Got a bit tight in the straight from Silent Sentry. A long break in the field, then to Swift Idea, Shenton Street, and we lost a couple in the home straight. They were Diamond Heist, and the other one was Perchevel, I think, was it?
Yeah, both horses are okay, and I just can't quite see the jockeys at this stage, Dan. But, Tembo Tembe, he was only second outside his record that he shares with Seabig Ivy. So it was a great run, beautifully ridden by Michael Patton. Always seemed to be in charge of the race, and when Mogul went up, I thought he'd make a race of it, but Tembo Tembe was just too strong. Here he is here, Michael Patton just waving the whip at him. Mogul, the grey on the outside, the other grey running home down the outside. But a great jump at the last. Great sight when you see them jumping like that. But Michael's just waving the whip at him, and he takes it a bit easier on him, getting towards the post. He's put the whip away. He's just been waving it at him. He knows he's got it won. Here's Mogul. He's trying hard, but he's taking it a bit easy, Michael. He might get a rap over the knuckles for that.
Mogul runs a lot of seconds. That was that 8-year-old's 19th runner-up placing. The official numbers are 1, 6 and 5. Peter Hayes is again in the winner's stall after the first event on the program, and for the second time this week, Tembo Tembe has won the first race.
Yes, and Pete, just discussing with stable foreman Gary Fennessy just what happened at the second last there. Was that a bit of a heart flutter for you?
I think Michael did actually the same thing on him coming to the last on Saturday. He just sort of went to it and was just going to let him jump it himself. And the horse just put in an extra stride, and I think he just needs to be just ridden into his jumps a little bit at this stage. You know, I mean, he's still, I guess he's won 4 out of 4, but he's still a little bit inexperienced, and, you know, he just made a mistake at the second last, but he doesn't make many.
Now, he is very promising, but of course, there's not much around for them at this time of the year, really, is there?
No, he'll now go for a spell, and he'll come back and be prepared for the National.
Just a quick one later in the day, Seascape. Can he make it 3 in a row?
I hope so. The horse is in great order, and I'm very pleased with him. He loves this track.
Hopefully we'll be talking to you later, Pete. Well done.
Thank you.
Peter Hayes, the winning trainer. Here's John Letts with Michael Patton, the winning jockey.
Hey, Mike, a good win, wasn't it? Yeah, good solid win. Like the boys tried me, but just had to be a bit careful. Yeah, Mike, the second last, you put in a little bit of a sticky one. Did it worry you much? Probably got in front a little bit early, but he gawking around a little bit. It looked like he learned his lesson coming to the last, didn't it? Oh, he jumped the last well. He was lovely. Very promising horse, mate. He's had 4 starts now over for 4 wins, and I see you got a nasty puncture wound on your near side hind. Something scalloped over the top of you. Right. So, or you've hit the second last, but doesn't look too good. But the horse very promising, Mike. No worries. Congratulations, mate.
All right, Michael Patton there with John Letts after the first event. Race 2 this afternoon as the horses come back. Just some riding information. Glenn Boss was down to ride 2 in the second. He'll ride number 10, Silver Arch, and the rider for 13, Siri Nelg, is Craig Williams. Craig Williams on 13 in race 2. Now, Darren Beedman is not riding today, so we'll have replacement riders for him all day. I can tell you one of them in race 3, number 3, Greg Hall takes the ride there. And in race 4, number 8, Carla Ring, the rider is Gavin Eads. We'll keep you up to date with that situation. Patrick Payne will ride Salius in race 5, the main race, but we'll bring you up to date with all of that later. After the first event, the number's 165, smart time again, 3:29.2. We'll be back with the weight signal and the dividends on the Captain's Snooze hurdle race after this.
B Constable 61.5.
61.5 you just heard. And we're after correct weight on Stakes Day, final day of the Spring Racing Carnival. Chrysler Stakes the feature. It's at 2:45. We have correct weight. and people coming in all the time to the races today. And look at that blue sky. We've had 4 of them in a row. And don't we love that, Danny Malecki? Please, some dividends.
Sure, Tim, on the first event, 1, 6 and 5. The favourite, the winner, Tembo Tembea, 160 and $1.20. 6 Mogul, 440. 5 Grimsdorf, 440. So the 2 greys running second and third. Quinella, $14.80. The trifecta, $216.70. The margins were a length and a quarter by 5 lengths. The time 3:29.2, which is only 0.6 slower than what Tembo Tembea recorded on Tuesday on Cup Day. 4th in was number 7, Naruma Guy, and 5th in was number 9, Poetic Council. And those 2 horses that fell were quite okay, Diamond Heist and Perchevel. There was no harm done to either of them.
Thank you, Dan. Winning twice during Cup Week is something extraordinary. By the way, we've got a minute before the presentations. Danny, just run through the totes for the Chrysler for us.
You were saying winning twice in the 1 week for Tembo Tembea. Well, how about Seasuke? He's won this race for the last 2 years. He's going for his 3rd win in the Group 1 Chrysler, which is race 5 at $2.45, $15. Mamselle Padrille, Salius, Lochray. What a brilliant field. Mr. Marconi, Scenic Royale. Over the page, Sober Suit, Buzz-Off, Catalan Opening. The favourite is Rose of Portland at $4.40. Been a big week for the Portland horses, hasn't it? Miss Margaret at $8.60, another mare engaged in the race. And then we're over the page to Simple as That, Headstrong, and scratch numbers 17, 18 and 19. A great race, Group 1, $300,000 Chrysler Stakes at 2:45.
Yes, a great race, and by the look of that, pretty open too. All right, they're ready for the presentations on the track. Here's Rob Gaylor.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Presentation time, of course, for the Captain Snooze Hurdle on the final day of this Spring Carnival. And representing the VRC, Mr. Rick Charlton. But to make the presentations, please welcome Mr. Warren Cook, who is the National Advertising Manager of Captain Snooze.
The Chairman of the VRC, sorry. Your committee, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here today on behalf of Captain Snooze as sponsors of the Captain Snooze Hurdle. Captain Snooze is proudly Australia's largest betting retailer, and it is fitting in our 21st year of operation that we play a role in Australia's biggest week of racing. I would like to congratulate the winning connection, Robert Sangster, trainer Peter Hayes, and of course Michael Patton, who rode Tembo Tembe to triumph. I would like to ask Peter Hayes to accept the Captain Snooze trophy on behalf of Robert Sangster with our warmest congratulations.
Indeed, thank you. Yes, and he deserves his rest now. Tembo Tembea, 4 in a row. You can't do a whole lot better than that. And there is Peter Hayes accepting his trophy. Head on of the race. By the time they get to the last, there's a few a bit tired. They scramble over it a bit. But Tembo Tembea, absolutely no problem at all. And like the good horse that he is, look at him just cruise to the line. That is cruising to the line too. He's had a terrific week. Well, Peter Donegan, I'm coming down to you for a brief look at the horses in the Totally Wild Stakes. I have to tell you a little story. We were down in the birdcage, and this Waterford Road, number 2, is a real character. When the greys go past him, he bares his teeth and snorts and paws at the ground. And I said to the strapper, does that mean he likes them or doesn't like them? He said, I don't know. We can't ask him.
Yeah, it's a bit like Jen on Thursday night, actually, Jen.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
No. Now, good news to report too, Tim. Dan mentioned the horses that fell in the first were okay, and so too are the jockeys. Tim Wheeler and Ricky Morn just came back in, and they were quite okay, so that's good news.
That's good news, but the winner, Pete, he had a lot of blood streaming from the back of his leg, so let's hope he's okay, because he's a very good hurdler.
Yeah, he wasn't in any discomfort walking, but of course they're still warm after the race, so we'll just see when he cools down. But I think it was right on the artery too, so it does tend to make the blood come out a lot more. So let's hope he is all right and that it's purely a superficial wound. Now, in the second, as I said, we've got a rider for the bottom one, and that is Craig Williams aboard 13 Siri. Now, just a runner comes out, which is a shame because I thought it had a good each-way chance in the race, but what did you come up with?
Well, Pete, I've come up with number 2 here, Waterford Road. I thought it was an excellent win as strong win in the Werribee Cup. I've put him on top from number 6, Yobro, and number 8, Touch of Force.
I've gone for Western Approaches. He finished 14th of 16 in the Werribee Cup, but he was absolutely stood on his ear at about the 150-metre mark. And I thought each way Western Approaches. Calzone for Johnny Letts and Waterford Road for Richard Friedman. So a few chances here in race 2. That's the Totally Wild Stakes, and it's due to commence down at 12:45.
And the top weight, Royal Snacker, winner of the Moe Cup, an incredible 4 times. What a remarkable effort that is. $15.70. Waterford Road, the favourite, $3.10. Western Approaches, $9.80. Idea, $7.10. Kiwi Golfer, $8.50. Yobro, $19.40. Calzone at $9.40. 8 Touch of Force at $6.70. Scratch number 9. Silver Arch, $34. Ancient Ritual, $26. Harmonious, $67. 57 make that, and Sirinelga $27. Race 2 and the popular pick, Waterford Road.
Well, I dare say, Dan, there probably wouldn't have been a lot of business done on the first race today with Tembo Tembea really having a stranglehold on the race. Tim, I suppose it'll all start here in race 2.
Yeah, Pete, they did come a little bit later for Tembo Tembea, but this stage it is an open race, race 2. There's 7 horses in the race under double-figure odds. Waterford Road heads the market, but the tuggers are tugging the coat. They've come for Calzone. It's the tip in the ring, about 8-1 on the tote, about 3 points shorter in the ring.
Yeah, Calzone actually was hit over the head in the Werribee Cup accidentally a couple of times when it finished 4th behind Waterford Road there, Tim. So it'll be interesting to see if the money continues for Calzone, but I think they might back a few in this at each way odds. Race 2, Tim, the Totally Wild Stakes, 12:45, the starting time.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Jennifer. And this year we're staying at a truly lovely hotel. You know, Melbourne's just a fabulous place at any stage, but the Sofitel Hotel is just beautiful. My mate John, the concierge, who's been looking after me all week with all of my strange requests about where to put the golf clubs, etc. We've had a lovely time there. A lot of our cast and crew are staying at the Sofitel. Cafe out of the window from Cafe La, which we enjoy every morning for breakfast. Plenty of that gone down, I can tell you. And all we say to you is if you're coming to Melbourne, wherever you're watching us, anywhere in Australia, you need somewhere to stay, you could do no better. Oh, there's Homer, my alter ego. I love Homer. He's great. Everyone's having a fabulous day here. We'll take a break and come back with so much more at Flemington right after these.
UBC.
There's some more of those fabulous pictures of Flemington in days of yore. And it was pretty much the same then as it is now. The clothes are different, but everyone has a good time, or had a good time then, as they do now. Chrysler Stakes Day, final day of the Spring Racing Carnival, and 20,000, I think, will do it easy for that record today. Well, you know, this little bloke gives people cheek all the time, whether it's at work or out here. I mean, I've decided to call him the leprechaun of the turf because it's very fitting. He's a cheeky little fella, is Tim Bailey.
Timmy Webster, you are full of cheek and bad manners, but I've known that for a while. Day 4 of the Victorian Spring Racing Carnival, and I've become a bit of an expert on 2 things. Slow horses and bad suits. Look at this. You would be hoping, seriously hoping, that sequins are in this year.
Oh, mate, I just can't wait. You know, I just hope that I'm a winner out there on the track, of course. Won't be going near the horses, though.
Tim, Stakes Day. It's Kids' Day, Family Day. Any chance of you being remotely entertaining?
Well, I've got a few tips for you, Tim. One of them is trousers first, then your shoes, of course. That's all right. But the other trick, mate, I've got for you is how. Oh, that one was a really good one. That one had a hole in it as well.
Live television.
That's right. Oh, go for a big black one on the day, of course, make it really, really worthwhile. And Timo, a special present for you, mate. Hang on to that one. There we go. and another one for you, mate. There you go. An extra special day at the races. Have a beautiful one, mate. Good to see you.
Just do me one favour.
Yep.
See a doctor. Back to you, Tim.
You see, what he does is wanders around the place looking for people of a like mind to himself. Unfortunately, he finds a lot of them. Tim Bailey. Fashion competition now. Here's how you can get involved in winning yourself $1,000 worth of beautiful Suzanne's gear.
You can be a winner in our Stakes Day fashion competition just by calling 0055 60658 if you know the right answer to this question. Jean Shrimpton shocked the members by wearing a mini to the carnival in which year? Was it A, 1963, or B, 1965? 2 winners will be chosen from those with the correct answers, and they will each receive a great prize of $1,000 in fashions from Suzanne's. So ring 0055 60658, and you can call right up until 4 o'clock Eastern Summer Time. Winners will be announced after race 7 today.
Yes, and all the best to you. 2 winners announced later today. Well, he's not riding today. He has a little case to answer on Wednesday, but he rode, of course, saintly to win the Melbourne Cup this week. Dee Beadman we're talking about. And Damon Runyon, you know, once said that nice guys run last. Well, Damon never met Darren Beadman.
What a year Darren Beadman has had already, and what a career. Despite having already won the Golden Slipper on Inspired in 1984, the Melbourne Cup on Kingston Rule in 1990, the Epsom Doncaster Double on Superimpose in 1991, and a string of other feature races, 1996 looks like being the champion jockey's best ever. In Sydney in the autumn, Beadman combined with Octagonal to win the 3-year-old Triple Crown. And his interrupted partnership with the star weight for age performer resumed in remarkable circumstances when he took the stayer to a form reversal win in the Underwood Stakes at Caulfield last month. And one of the highlights of his stellar career came recently when he notched his 1,000th winner with a dead heat on Dashing Eagle in the Flight Stakes at Randwick. Beadman turned to Christianity during the worst period of his life when he suffered the shame of a 9-month disqualification in Hong Kong several years ago. But he returned to Australia and put the disappointment behind him, and now deserves the title as the #1 rider in the land. On Tuesday, we witnessed one of the great rides of Melbourne Cup history. We shouldn't really have been surprised. Darren Beadman could win on the proverbial broomstick at the moment.
Sure could, and I certainly wasn't surprised. It was a great win on a fabulous horse, Saintly, and we wish him all the best in the Japan Cup. Sandra Sully's down in the 10 marquee, where it's sort of 10 family day, Sandy.
It is a 10 family day, and everyone's quite anxious to tuck into a beautiful...
One of the great horses of the century in Australia.
Yeah. And just before I let you go, isn't this, you'd love to see this, being a racing journo of some years, Graham's been around a little while, this enormous crowd, the crowds that have been here this week, there'll be 250,000 nearly by the end of today.
Well, there's no doubt that racing's picked up, and Brian Beattie, the VRC, and they're all doing a wonderful job, and then it becomes self-perpetuating, and with Channel 10 doing such a marvellous coverage, it just all goes on and builds up and snowballs, and racing's back where it should be, on the pedestal, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, it's also a tribute to Victorians, and particularly to the people of Melbourne, who seem to come to a sporting event of their own, no matter what, rain, hail or shine.
That's exactly true. They love any sporting event, and the Melbourne Cup should be right up there, and now it is, thankfully. So we can all rest happily, I think, Tim. And congratulations on your job too, by the way.
Gee, Kelly, thank you very much. And congratulations on this book, The King, The Story of a Champion. He certainly was. Kingston Town. Beautiful little book, that one. If you love your racing, get a hold of a copy. It's just over 2 hours to the big race today. The Kreisel Stakes at 2:45. We'll take a break and come back with a whole lot more. No, we won't take a break now. We'll go down to Peter Donningham. We're going racing.
Yes, they're in the mounting yard here, Tim, and I did have the opportunity of leafing through that book on Kingston Town, Graham's book, the other day. It's a must. It's just magnificent.
Yeah, it's a fabulous book. Certainly some great reading in it, that's for sure.
Now, what will be greater reading is if you've got a ticket with the winning name on it here in race 2, Jen, and we're going to take a look at these runners. And Royal Snack, Dan mentioned his incredible performance when he won the Moe Cup 2 runs ago. 4 years in a row. What an achievement.
Well, that's a feat in itself, isn't it? And Royal Snack is a very honest type of performer. At his last start at Werribee, he did get back and he went quite wide on the turn. I thought he ran on very well on that occasion. He's always a place chance in a race like this, even a winning chance. He's got 58 kilos, enough weight on his back, but he's a good horse.
Waterford Road #2 plotted at Caulfield when 6 behind Mellow Chateau and then won the Werribee Cup. Just held on to beat the Bandit in a very tight finish.
Yes, I wonder whether or not he handled the track on that occasion. A little bit slippery at Caulfield that day. Then I thought it was a very tough effort to win the Werribee Cup. It was a good, strong performance. He might go out and get his own way here, Pete. I think that's what they'll try and do, the tactics that they'll employ here, and I think he's going to be quite hard to run down.
One of Gay's, and she's had a pretty quiet couple of days over the carnival. #3, Western Approaches. Now, this horse finished 14th in the Werribee Cup, Jen, 14th of 16, which you read that on paper, you think this has got no hope, but there were a lot of excuses that day.
Many, many excuses. He was just never out of trouble. trouble and desperately unlucky. I think he comes into this race with a good chance because you can forget his run before that too at Caulfield when he ran 15th. He was wide all the way there, so 2 good excuses for him. He's better than that, and he's there with an each-way chance.
A lot of form around the Werribee Cup, actually. Number 4 Idea finished 3rd in that race and got beaten a half head and a head, and that was its best run for a little while.
Yes, he got back. It was around about midfield for most of the way, and he made a long run at them. I thought it was a good effort too. He's well drawn in barrier 5 and good jockey on board, so he's there with a chance.
Kiwi Golfer number 5 finished 9th in the Werribee Cup. Would probably need to improve here.
Yes, I thought it was a better effort by Kiwi Golfer at Werribee, but this it does look a little bit tougher for him, and he probably needs just to lift a little bit.
Now, I know you've given the Sydney-trained Yobro a bit of a chance here with Gavin Eads in the saddle.
Even Yobro, yes. I thought it was a very tough win at Rose Hill.
What school you went to?
That's true. At Rose Hill a couple of starts ago. And then at Rose Hill he hadn't raced for about 6 weeks. I thought he might have been in need of that run. He led on that occasion, just tired towards the end. He'll be fitter going into this, and he's a chance.
Calzone, is that right, number 7?
That's right, Pete.
You're the rider.
Yes. I thought he had the run of the race there at Werribee, or she had the run of the race, I should say. Hit over the head a couple of times there and protested unsuccessfully. There with the place chance in this.
And Touch of Force number 8, Brett Preble amongst the other chances. 3rd here at Flemington behind Hurricane Storm at its last appearance, and that was earlier in the carnival.
Well, they've taken the blinkers off Touch of Force, and I think that's going to suit because the horse can pull quite a bit. 51.5 kilos, gets in very nicely and well drawn in barrier 2, so he's a chance.
Sum it up quickly, Jen, in the second.
Waterford Road, number 2 from Yobro, and I've put in number 8, Touch of Force, for 3rd.
And Western Approaches each way for me. Tim Gossage in the betting ring. Any moves or anything here, Tim?
Absolutely, Peter. Everything's drifted bar 1. Touch of Force is shortened about 3 points in the bookmaker's ring. You can get about 6 to 1 on the tote at the moment, 2 points shorter in the ring.
We'll take a break now as they go to the stalls for race 2. Back to talk to Roy Higgins with his thoughts on the Totally Wild Stakes after this. Glorious day at Flemington. The roses are in bloom and the crowd's here for the 4th time this week, and we're going to have nearly 250,000 people through the gates at Flemington for the carnival. And the map of this race, the one they're watching, the Totally Wild Stakes, 2,000 metres over by the Maribyrnong River, and with 12 running they should all have a position before the turn at the 1,400 metre mark. So the tips for this particular race, as we mentioned before, Jennifer has gone for Waterford Road, and so too has Richard Friedman, and I thought Western Approaches had a good chance here in race 2. Roy Higgins is with me. We'll be joining him in a moment, but first of all, here's Dan with the tote call.
Royal Snack at $14.40, Pete. Waterford Road still favoured on the tote at $3. Not that it isn't on the track, but it has been a bit easy. Western Approaches $9.30, Idea $7.90, Kiwi Golfer $11.60, Yobro $17.10, Calzone at $8. The big mover has been number 8, Touch of Force at $6.20 now on the tote, and fairly big odds about numbers 10, 11, 12 and 13, Peter.
Yes, as I said, Roy Higgins is with me now, Dan, and how did you mark them in the second, Roy?
Pete, I think there's the format of the Werribee Cup could stand up here. As you know, Waterford Road won that race. But one of the runs in the race that caught my eye was the old boy Royal Snack, the top weight here. And I tell you what, he looked terrific in the yard here today. He's a bit of value, probably on an each way basis. I marked him on top of number 2 Waterford Road. He's a nice horse, this guy. He's sure to perform well. Touch of Force was a good run here the other day. Blinkers off today. He looked excellent. And number 5, Kiwi Golfer. He holds the record here at Flemington for this distance. He too looked in good shape. I marked them 1, 2, 8 and 5 for race 2 on the program.
Thanks, Roy. 1:59.8 is the time for Kiwi Golfer. They're moving in. Touch of Force just a little on his toes there as he goes into the stalls, Johnny Letts. And there's a problem here too with Yobro also getting a little upset. So what about the rest of them? Let's see, how are they?
Well, I was just looking, Pete, at Idea. He looked very, very well, but the horse that Roy said, number 8, was the best backed horse in the race. Gee, it looks a treat. Number 6 horses, the Gavin Eads riders, actually sweated up a bit. Royal Snack looks very well. Waterford Road looks very well, but I did think from the yard, I thought the Calzone, the horse that I picked, actually looks very well. And if the form stands up outside of the from the Werribee Cup, I think Calzone will be very hard to beat, to be ridden by Brian York now that Darren Beaver's not riding.
There's Royal Snack on your screen now, as Johnny said, looking particularly well, and Roy liked the look of him too. And there's only a few to go in. Western Approaches behind him, and as Letzi said, Yobro just getting a little upset and sweating up a bit, Dan, before the start of race number 2, the Totally Wild Stakes.
Western Approaches, Shane Dye going to the gates, Gary.
Yes, look, I like the look of Calzone. Waterford Road looks very well. And, you know, but I can't split the 2 and the 7, to be honest.
And the mare Calzone goes up and is set now for the Totally Wild Stakes. Waterford Road favourite, best backed is Touch of Force. Racing now, pretty good line for the exception of Siri Melg, who missed it probably 3/4 of a length. The best out, Waterford Road, is going to find the early lead from Silver Arch. Western approaches, Calzone wide early, and then Yob Road, Touch of Force over on the inside, about 2.5 lengths to Kiwi Gold for an idea, followed by Royal Snack around Ancient Ritual, and back to the tail of the field we have Siri Melg and Harmonious. At the 1600 metres point they hit now, and the leader is now Calzone. Took over from Waterford Road, Silver Arch, and Western